Goes, guys, this is the round before the qualifying match. After this, the winner has to play Bly. As we have to the bottom right, our red Zerg player, it's Namshar. And to the top left-hand side, the blue Protoss from Cascade is DnS. Again, what's up everybody out in the chat? Let us know who you're cheering on in this PvZ series. Namshar versus DnS. Always great to hear who's being supported in the chat and all the rest of it. So, let's see who you're cheering on at the start of this. I'm going to look in chat 3 minutes from now, and I want to hear, or see, or read some DnSs and some Namshars to give me something to talk about through the most likely uninteresting and well, not uninteresting, but very similar and repetitive PvZ opening, which we see a lot of the time, which is getting Nexus Core into the hatch gas pool on the other side of the map, and you know, just very standard stuff basically. So let's see how things will go. Probo DnS already coming down towards the bottom right hand side. Devil's Fire for the Cheer 8 says, here are the bits I earned during the ad break. Thank you so much, Devil's Fire, for watching some ads and earning some bits. Every little helps. Bit by bit, we're gonna become esports famous and rich, and we're going to throw our esports parties and stuff. Hey, for the Cheer 8, mate. I do actually genuinely appreciate people who... Hey, I mean, I'm genuinely serious. I know I'm memeing a little bit, but every little bit helps. It all adds up. It all adds up. Where's this boob cam at, guys? There was no boob cam. Chill out. We just had a bit of a side view of Wardy for a little while. I just changed things up a little bit. Chill out, guys. I'm a Cookster who just hit us up with a Twitch Prime sub not long ago, has just gifted a sub to Sheezel. What's up, my man Sheezel? How you doing? Welcome to the family. I could not be happier to welcome you to the family. Welcome, Sheezel, to the family. Thank you so much. Alright, guys. As this continues, we do see a Nexus coming down 2 minutes in, and it's been everything we expected to be so far. First Adept on the way to get some scouting information. Probably a couple of Adepts to try and then maybe get some drones, potentially. So let's see how this is going to go. As you do see, this little Adept going to start shading forwards, the Stalk on its way out as well. It's actually a Stalker to follow up, which is a different way of doing this. It allows you to poke away at the Overlords and to stop them scouting in as much. So intrigued to see what the tech choice might be here. Maybe something like a Twilight Council rather than the Stargate. Because if you go for the Stalker, he actually cancels the Stalker and makes an Adept. No, he gets the Stalker. Now he makes an Adept. Okay. Maybe he doesn't go Stargate then. Or maybe he goes Stargate without the Phoenix, potentially. Interesting. We will see here as we're going to be seeing these few Zerglings are just going to be setting up from Namshar. Obviously looking to ward away that Adept as fast as possible. 2 more gates on the way down. So that is something that isn't a Stargate, right? So already it's a little bit intriguing here from DnS. Definitely looking to prioritize some gateway unit production rather than other bits and pieces. Well, as we have another couple of moments, Port is going on the sub-gifting train as always. Gifting a sub to the Mighty Zealot, Don Bolchevic, Daras, and Mahia3. Welcome everyone to the family. I'm going to get you again properly after this game. I want to focus up on this a little bit because it's getting interesting with these gateways, but Newtaz Carapace from Namshar allowing him to scout, and now DnS throws down double Stargate. You see what I mean? It's getting interesting, right? This is not just your generic ZvP right away. Interesting. So this is a little bit different here then for these players. We do have some of you guys cheering on these guys though. Skullman in the chat cheering on Namshar, the mayor as well as Devil's Fire and Wush J. The Namshar love is real in the chat, not just beefs. Go Namshar. DnS and Namshar for the Corvus. That doesn't work. Let's go Wardy, you can do it. Thanks for your dragon, needed that. Namshar, go, says Cerilias. Namshar from Islandi. DnS, finally a DnS cheer from Marine Feline. Taco Stuff gifting a sub to Zex. Welcome Zex to the family. Taco Stuff with the second sub gift in the channel. Thank you so much, Taco Stuff. Number 1 cheering on DnS as well. Baguette rooting for DnS says Sir Noise. DnS says Damdex. Alright, loving it guys, loving it. Loving to see some hype coming through in the chat. And thank you for all the sub gifts. Going crazy here, aren't we? We are going crazy. We're on like 25 subs today. We are racing towards 30 subs. But we have to put a little bit of attention towards this game because it is very interesting. I'm going to go back through all the subs and stuff again here soon. Let's see what happens in the game for now. A couple of Phoenix on the way out, and they are looking to get rid of these initial overlords. With double Stargate, you're always going to be looking to try and take down as much as you can. Somehow, Namshar didn't see this, which is just incredible. So he doesn't know about the double Stargate yet. Maybe now he does, because he's seen more and more of these Phoenix over time. As we are going to be seeing the Phoenix coming through. Going to shut that overlord down nicely. Done right there. And obviously now, with the Phoenix, you're looking for a lot of damage. You're looking to lift up Queens, you're looking for drone kills. If Hydras start coming out, you're looking to pick off a few Hydras when they're in lower numbers, and all the rest of it as well. Third base is on the way up. The Nexus coming through on that third base. So that's on its way right now. +1 missile attack and Groove Spines. Already a second Evo Chamber as well. Not a crazy number of Phoenix yet, but as they get +1 air weapons and the numbers keep on rising, they're going to absolutely obliterate Overlords and Queens. Interesting that Namshar took this as his third base. We'll be probably looking towards this as a fourth instead. So let's see how this is going to go. And as we keep on setting up here with a more Phoenix coming across the map. Again, the real Fat Boy Slim also joined the sub train. And Chavs, welcome guys. I'm going to go through again all the subs properly after this game. I just don't want to miss too much of it because it definitely is an exciting one to cast. There's going to be action going on from the early stages. So Phoenix coming through, and they are already picking off some drones. There's an Overlord, and this is what these Phoenix are meant to do in this higher number. You're meant to get a bunch of damage done. You're meant to get a whole bunch done, and they are starting to get that done here. As we are going to be seeing the Robo Facility, the Twilight Council, on the way down. And the main base of Queen goes down as well, so they're continuing to really pick up some damage here as the game continues. Some Lings up to the top side. Overseer off over to the right and going to be kind of moving around and seeing what they can get up to. Phoenix coming in again. Queen's actually going to trade out some transfusions. They get a Phoenix kill because the Kaido's actually popped out underneath those Queens. And that was actually a pretty good trade in the end for Namshar. That's DnS. Well, from here, he's adding those extra gateways. We are going to see Temple Archives. It turns into a very common setup here with the charge, the +1, the immortal production. What's really nice is already having +1 attack means that you can actually go in towards, on the air weapons that is, you can already go in towards a scenario which is, it gives you a setup here where basically you can go into carriers and they're already a bit more powerful, which is a great thing to do, by the way. On backwater, it's super easy to get up to the carriers, right? So you can definitely get up to the carriers, for example, and then they're a bit more powerful. You just have these Phoenix to harass with throughout the game, and even that is just terrifying. You know, that is powerful as well. There's going to be seeing those Phoenix coming off over to the right-hand side. Hatchery here, just sat building up. It is the fourth base in the location we expected it to be. I was going to see this Overseer is coming on through, and we are going to be seeing obviously upgrades and so on, finishing for DnS. He takes the fourth base already. Storm on the way. I mean, again, it's very standard for him in terms of following up. It's just the Phoenix initially is what's a bit different. What's scary is if these Hydras move across the map, the Queens are kind of on their own. It doesn't take long for these units to fly on through and pick up a whole bunch of drones and just kill off a whole, you know, like a ton of them very quickly. So let's see what happens is if the Hydras move out, it's kind of weird because it kind of keeps the Hydras at home and it gives DnS time to do what he wants. So it's working out wonderfully so far. A few more cannons on the way up, a gateway as well here most likely in the next couple of moments. +2 attack on the way on that forge as well still as we see a few of the Hydras moving through the south side. Gonna see where we go from here. We see a Banelane on the way up. Centrifugal Hook still coming through. +2 missiles, +1 melee. Again, those Phoenix up to the top side, going to allow for a just allow for the Hydras to stay at home, I guess. Hive and Aspire on the way down. I don't have much to say about it. I mean, not much is happening because DnS is just keeping so many Hydras at home and stopping attacks. Plus the fact it's not really a map you like to attack on anyways. Backwater is a very defensive map on 4 bases, so no wonder Namshar is already sitting back a little bit. The Phoenix just amplify that sort of kind of playstyle. And again, we're going to see the Phoenix coming down to the south, a Hatchery on the way up as well, getting set and ready to go. A few Hydras coming on through here, and we are just going to be seeing again +2 missiles, Banelane speed, all of this finishing up in the next few moments. Fleet Beacon on the way, and that's what I was sort of expecting, right? The, you know, movement in towards carriers and so on and so forth. That ability to kind of go into the sky toss, and again, you already have the +1 attack, which helps out a whole ton. it's just the map to do this on, and it's almost as though these guys are saying, you know what, there has not been enough actions yet to, there's not been enough games on Backwater today that are just long. So let's go for a real long one here, gentleman's agreement. We are going to be seeing these Phoenix backing away off over to the right-hand side, and as they move on over here, it's going to be a bunch of drones already getting picked off. Drone after drone after drone going down. Nice by the Phoenix, and again, it just keeps on harassing. It keeps Namshar busy while the carriers come on through, and those carriers are going to be getting ready to go in the very near future. Queens are pushing forwards the creep spread up on the top side of the map. We're going to be seeing a whole bunch of Lings, Hydras, Banes, all gathering themselves together, and that creep spread is all over the place as well, by the way. It's so far out, and that's just how passive DnS has been with his main army. Usually you see with a Pros play, they position, they threaten, they have a push or two kind of before now. That's not happened because DnS has been happy that the Phoenix have done enough. He's been teching so much faster into Corruptors than you usually do, into Carriers, sorry, than usual. Working wonders so far for DnS. It's going well for him. As we see these few Phoenix just off to the right-hand side, we do see the War Prism on the south-hand side with Zealots moving on through. They're going to be dropping in towards the main base in the next couple of moments as the Zealot charges in, as Zerglin gets taken down. A 5th base is on its way up and going to be finishing very, very shortly. And Zealots trying to see what else is going on. Hydras will be able to pick off a few of them there, and the Phoenix, it's at that sort of stage where I don't think the Phoenix are too bothered if they survive any longer. They're not in crazy numbers. If they can go out taking another couple of units with them, a couple of drones, especially taking them off the extractor is so annoying. It's that sort of stage where DnS is like, okay, I lose one. It's all good. It's looking fun. As we are going to be having these Hydras, these Banes coming up towards the upper side. Getting ready to keep on partying, getting ready to push on in towards this 4th base in the next few moments. A few more Hydras actually find themselves an Observer, which is always exciting. Phoenix going to get taken down as well right now. So that is the end of the Phoenix here. But now the carriers show up, and I'm not sure if Namshar has the units to really kind of fight against those carriers, fight against those interceptors. I'm not sure if he does. A few Corruptors, I mean, once the Storm start coming down, I'm not sure, man. We're going to see those Adepts starting to come on down, shading away. Probably just going to try and bring some units out of position, which it does initially. Another set of Broodlings drop down here. Another Broodal morphs in very far forwards. DnS is happy to wait for more carries in the production tab while I rush into this. The Storms come down to push back the Banelings. Nicely done so far. Cannons are getting some damage done as well. Some probes make the transition mid-fight. Not really the safest time to do so. You're going to see another Storm coming down here. Those Broodlords are getting battered and worn away at. The Hydras just can't even join the fight because of the Storms, which are still available. And these Interceptors even are barely even going down. One carrier is so low. Surely Namshar finds the target fire to get rid of it, but he doesn't. The Broodlords keep on dropping as the Broodlords drop on down. I mean, there's just no power left in this army. The Hydralisks just keep on disappearing, and Namshar did not have what he needed to really fight this right away. And I mean, my issue is down the south side, they're picking off drones, they're shutting down bases. Namshar's units are being chased away, and DnS comes out of this in a comfortable position, maybe even a better position than before, because he didn't lose a single carrier. Even this carrier on 8 hit points survived, and now his carrier count just gets larger and larger, and it's so hard to fight against carriers. Now, a big wave of Corruptors might be the right direction to go in for Namshar, but that's where DnS starts to add in Void Rays and, again, just the Storms that can help to ward those Corruptors away to keep the carriers strong and healthy in those fights. While Namshar keeps on pushing this towards the upper side, we are going to see some more Hydras coming through as well. Why no worker kill count? I'm not sure. I did ask the players to host at WCS, and I offered to host the game for them instead if they didn't want to host with it. But when there's a big qualifier like this, sometimes words just get lost in chat channels and we don't get what we need. So the game heart mod wasn't loaded on this one, hence the no worker kill counter on the sides. We are going to be seeing these carriers coming in, but now the Corruptors show up. I don't know if there's enough Corruptors. The Storms are coming in now as well, right? They're going to start dropping. I killed a couple of carriers, but this was so expensive. We saw, what, like 15 Corruptors in the production tab? And there's 7 left. Maybe this wasn't all 15 that flew in, but oh no, Namshar leaves a few of them just sat out here as well. The Hydras and Lings to the left side find themselves a few Zealots, but that's about it. As we are going to be seeing more Corruptors on the way, but I'm just not sure this is going Namshar's way at all. I'm not sure if Namshar is finding himself the fights which he needs to make this work. As Lings and Hydras push on forwards, a pylon goes down. These cannons are going to be in trouble. And the carriers and the interceptors continue to get the job done, getting rid of those Hydras. So nicely done so far. So you are going to be seeing some extra zealots here from DnS warping in to be able to deal with those Zerglings. We do see that Warp Prism is pushed away down to the south side. These couple of Immortals are in a little bit of trouble here, trapped on this south side as well. They're going to go down. At this stage, I mean, Immortals are something you actually give away because you don't really need Immortals to win the ground fight. Because if you win the air fight, you win the ground fight afterwards. So by having no Immortals and more Archons, the splash damage against Corruptors increases. And that's very good for you because it helps take down the Corruptors. You win the air fight, you win the ground fight. Well, Carrier's coming in once again. Interceptor's taking the charge, and you just see those Hydras melt. Definitely not a movement up top that Namshar was intending to make. And you can just see how stretched Namshar is in terms of his money. He has nothing in the bank at all, and he isn't even quite maxed out. He's close, but not quite. And, well, as a Dark Shrine comes down, it's just another way to harass around to make Namshar's life miserable. Something else for Namshar to deal with around the map, while DnS continues to deflect attacks on his own side, or maybe even just attack elsewhere with his own main army. Things looking for a run by. There's a sentry here for the force field. It comes down so quickly. No worries at all, as he's going to find this base. And actually, this base coming down as a fourth is not a really great position at all for this. Because it means it's so easy to kind of pick off with those carriers. Maybe Namshar wasn't thinking about that earlier, but it definitely does come into play. Now this counterattack continues and it forces the recall back home, but it's not as though Namshar has gained a lot here. He's cleaned out a mineral line or two, which is so easily replaceable at this stage of the game. He doesn't even get a next. Ooh, when did this Nexus die? Maybe Corruptor's Caustic sprayed it down. I think I completely missed that. I think that's what just happened though. So he gets a base. But this base is much less healthy than this base because Namshar took this base as a fourth rather than a third. So this has definitely been a trade which has favored our Zerg Protoss player, I feel. Here come these Corruptors. They find themselves a carrier, but I dare I ask the question, at what cost? Multiple Corruptors fallen here and being chased away. Not looking pretty at all, as Namshar will come up to the top side once again with Lingsbanes and Hydras looking to deny this space. But Namshar is the one who's struggling on economy. By denying DNS's economy, that's great, but DNS already has a bank to play around with. Namshar's got a long way to go if he's going to win this game through pure harassment and quick pickoffs of like a carrier here, a carrier there. He's got a long way to go if that's how he's going to make this happen. As we see 8 High Templar, they're going to finish morphing in, and we are going to be seeing Archons coming into play. All of these carriers gathering together, Corruptors coming off over to the left-hand side, and they're going to try and dive into this and see maybe what is next. Carriers are chasing down the Hydras down the side of the map as well. Fourth base on the bottom left from Namshar getting set up here, and just going to see the Corruptors going to caustic spray down a couple of Nexus. Honestly, it's got potential, but it means the Corruptors are not here to be part of this fight. And so what is it to back up this ground army? Absolutely zilch, zero, nada, nothing. I can't see it in enough ways because there really is nothing here from Namshar. A handful of Hydras, a couple of Banelings, quite literally. I mean, 5 Banelings, it's not going to save him here. And you just can't afford to build much more. Queens have full energy, so what? They're going to die so quick, I'd be surprised if they get the transfusions off, and they don't. This base is going to go down. The Corruptors have arrived back at home, but there's just no way. The Interceptors are in way too high a number. The Archons aren't even part of the fight against the Corruptors, and it's enough. DnS plays a well-executed macro game. Good plan. Every single sub. We're actually steamrolling our way back towards 300 subscribers. Really appreciate that. You guys are absolutely awesome. And just wanted to take a moment there to give everyone the love they deserve for showing the support to the stream. Because without you guys, we wouldn't be here bringing you guys the content today. So thank you so much. Means a lot. Goes a long way. Thank you. And with that, let's jump back into the game. Let's get back to the action that everybody is truly here to see. To the upper right-hand side, our red Zerg player is Namshar. Down a map in this best-of-3 series. Let's see if he can fight back. They are 1 series away from the qualification match. Namshar needs 2 games in a row to get there. To the bottom left-hand side, our blue Protoss player from Cascade is DnS. 1-0 up, 1 map away from facing Bly for a space in this season's WCS Challenger. The Challenger that leads into WCS Austin. So again, if you're just a little bit unsure, as we do see a Twilight Council opening, by the way, DnS changing things up. If you're a little bit unsure as to how this works, WCS Challenger is split across multiple regions: EU, NA, Latin America, Taiwan. There is a region for China. There is a region for Oceania, and so on. The WCS Challenger then has all these qualifiers, and each region has its own WCS Challenger event with prize money and WCS points to be won. From WCS Challenger, players then qualify and get paid for trips to WCS circuit events, and as well as a seed straight to the round of 32, aka Group Stage 3. Now, it's not essential that you play, you can still go and sign up for the open bracket and play from round 1, Group Stage 1, but you have to pay for your own travel, your own stay, and all the rest of it, so it's much better for you to qualify through Challenger. So this is very important for a lot of players, and the WCS points can go a long way as well to making differences at the end of the year tally. So it's a big, important part of the StarCraft 2 community and all the rest of it. Challenger really is something to keep your eyes on. So we set on up, guys, and this time we mentioned that DnS was the Twilight Council opener. It's a Dark Shrine follow-up, a Warp Prism triple gateway. It's the double Archon drop, the bread and butter version of it as well. Really the standard, no shenanigans, not the double gate, not the, no extra gates, no charge or anything just yet. Just straight up Archon drop with the DT Shrine. Let's see what DnS can do with this. As right now, Namshar stops his Spore Crawlers. Looks as though they're going to be bang on time to be ready to kind of defend against the DTs. So that's going to be perfect. And we are going to be having this Warp Prism moving on over to the right-hand side. Shingdings with the 16-month resub just before the action gets started in this. How's it going, Shingdings? I feel as though I just started out your resub the other day. Thank you so much for the 16 months. Hope you're doing well. And another one, he says. Yes, wow, so many shoutouts, it's insane. I can't keep up. Thank you, Shingdings. Another esports hero here on the channel. As we see the DTs moving forwards. Again, the Spore is safe. The Queen's surrounded to make sure. The DTs will probably just lift up here. Not much to be gained by fighting for too long. Obviously, you want those DTs alive so you can morph in the Archons. And the Prism's just moving off and away to get into that position where you can morph in a couple of the Archons. He actually kills off a creep team. That's nice as well. I mean, slowing down creep forces another 25 energy off of a Queen. It works. His DTs are actually still DTs, though. And that is somewhat of a problem, obviously. I mean, if they're still just DTs, then you're in this bit of an awkward position where you're not actually getting the Archon harassment going your way yet. So, yeah, it could be a little bit nicer. He's going to find a way to maybe just jumps into the main and kills the Spore. But by now, there's an Overseer up, right? Yeah, there's an Overseer coming through, so even if he kills the Spore, it doesn't really matter. But he's using the DTs to do as much damage as he can. And as we are going to be seeing those DTs back into the Prism. Across the map, Lings are actually looking for a cancel, and they're going to get it. And what's really annoying is that Overlord overhead is obviously here to make everyone's lives miserable. And he actually moves it away. Nona is probably going to go down, so that's cute. Still shuts things down. That's awesome. Well, 4 more gateways on the way up from DnS. So getting these extra 4 gates up, an Immortal and a couple more Archons from DnS about to jump into this Prism. Obviously, those are the first 2 Archons, actually not a couple more. Enough units here to push these Lings back this time around. Ooh, even keeping the Lings in here. He doesn't want Namshar to get away with this for free. He's going to use 1 more Force Field to maximize the Lings he kills. 4 more gates coming up, charge ready to go, 45 probes. DnS might move across the map for some aggression. Prism is still alive, Zealot's warping in aggressively, and here we go. Moving across the map, it's time for DnS to see what he can do. A couple of Archons are going to finish morphing in just a moment or so. Hydralisk Den finishes as well, and we'll be able to start up a upgrade here. Groove Spines, I think, better defensively initially. Vertical Augments if you want to be aggressive, but right now, Namshar should be thinking about defending. Whether he knows that or not, though, is another question. DnS will start the 3rd Nexus behind it. He'll probe that up eventually, but for now, let's see what he can get done with his attack. He pushes on towards Creep, no Observer to get rid of any of that. Namshar are kind of a bit of a concave, but I mean, it's Queens and Roaches. It's not that amazing. Those couple of Force Fields I feel don't do too much, though. The Prism misses the lift on 2 Archons, which maybe could have been macroed backwards. Second Immortal gets brought forwards by the Prism. This is not good at all for DnS. He's losing absolutely everything. I don't think he was expecting this many Roaches. Or maybe he was expecting to micro some of his units a bit better. He'll get away with the 2 Immortals, but that will be all. Namshar with a crushing defeat there. Or crushing victory. I guess it's crushing defeat for DnS, as he will now be in a bit of trouble. He's going to use the Moors to try and buy time, but Namshar's roach speed, if Namshar just gets across the map with enough roaches, that's going to be goodbye 3rd base. That's maybe going to be goodbye to this game, and we might be tied up 1-1 heading to a Game 3 and ace match here in this matchup from the WCS EU Challenger Qualifier. Immortals taking some damage to those roaches yet again. Overseer dropping down, another little changeling. Roaches still setting themselves up and seeing what's going to happen. We'll Prism around at the main base, and we are just going to be seeing those 3 roaches just trying to keep tagged onto it, as we are going to be having a couple of Immortals microing around where they can. Hatchery on the way up on the 4th. So hatch up on the 4th, and the Evo Chamber is about to finish up this +1 missiles. With the Evo Chamber on the +1 missiles, it's going to be giving the Roaches, the Hiders, that a little bit more power. Namshar never really counterattacked here, though. Dealt with the first attack very well. I guess he's maybe waiting for his moment, but I feel it's definitely one of those scenarios where you can just get ready to go once more. Unless, I mean, DnS is going to attack, so DnS is going to bring the fight to Namshar. And honestly, should Namshar not be able to hold this attack, I feel as though there's no reason Namshar shouldn't defend this, because of how well that first fight went for him. He cleaned out everything apart from the 2 Immortals. Well, let's see. I mean, obviously it still comes down to the engagement. DnS's army is still scary. I mean, I guess I'm not giving credit enough, perhaps, as we see a lot of sentries. The force fields can be so deadly in these sort of games as well, of course. Well, let's see. We're going to be having to see those force fields come down shortly. 4 Immortals and 1 Archon. More Zealots warping in here from DnS. So here we go. First couple of force fields are actually very good to lock some of the units out. Corrosive Battle come down to get rid of it. For now, he just goes for the 4th base. How much more does he want to get done? He's got a lot more force fields to dictate how this goes. He can use them to back away safely. He can use them to kind of, move the fight into his own sort of position. Keeping the Ravagers away is really important from this War Prism, because a Corrosive Bile on there will get rid of all further reinforcements, and that will just straight up be the end of this attack, whether DnS wants it to be or not. But I actually think this might be the end of the attack anyway, as DnS, he was so committed to making something happen with this that now he's just lost everything, and in the end, Namshar's army was powerful enough. And again, it's just another big fight victory. Yes, Namshar lost the 4th base, but he gets that back up, and again, this time, he's got an army which is just going to be so powerful if he actually wants to get back across the map, counterattack himself, and to get something more done. Muscular Augments is going to be finishing in a moment or two. Roaches, a few Hydras from Namshar. We do see the Prism is just moving around a little bit. +2 missile attack here from Namshar as well, as you do just have the Prism is, gonna get caught. Surely that's like a GG moment. It's one of those moments, obviously DnS isn't going to type out GG in this game because it's such an important one. He's going to fight to the very end. But I feel like that's one of those moments where in a lot of other games, a ladder game, maybe an online cup, you're like, wow, this was bad. I lost the Prism. GG, next game, let's go. Nothing's going my way right now. And it really isn't for DnS. It isn't really looking good for him at all, as we are going to be seeing the Roaches and Hydras getting set up in the center of the map. A lot of Zealots pulling back over to the left-hand side. A 4th base from DnS starts up as well. Pylon coming up and just in front of it. TT runs in on the right-hand side. I mean, DnS has to try whatever he can to make this work. I'm so surprised by how passive Namshar's been. He's about to be aggressive with the Dropper Lords and so on, but I mean, he didn't need to do anything fancy here. He just needed to push on in. Obviously, it's one of those scenarios where maybe if you get a bit too aggressive too quickly, maybe you can throw it away and give DnS the defense to get back in, but I feel like, I mean, what's the resources lost? 10.7 to 6.5, and Namshar's held a worker lead heavily throughout the entire game. And if you look at the income, we can't because the players didn't host Game Hard again, but if we could, Namshar's been ahead all game long, so there's really no reason Namshar needs to wait. I guess the drops make it even harder for DnS to somehow muster a defense up. So I guess that, I guess it's more just sort of securing it. The reality is whenever Namshar decides to commit, it should just be good enough. And even DnS starting to get Colossus out, it's probably not going to be behind enough numbers to really turn this around. So we just wait for Namshar to make that kill and blow to tie the series up, put us 1-1 in this best of 3. And then we have, of course, one more map to see who will be playing Bly in the qualifying match. It's going to be having the Roaches, Hydras, and a couple of Ravagers moving forwards here. Hallucinated Phoenix gets taken down. Big drop into the main base. I mean, the Zealots come through. I'm surprised we don't see a single DT warped in because there is no Overseer here. Would at least begin to start pushing this away. There's the DTs now, and Namshar might realize that and just pick up after getting the Forge, or maybe he can find some more tech. And he's mostly just going to pick up here. He pulled all the way back home to deal some DTs as well. Maybe he saw the Colossus and just didn't want to push through the choke point. I mean, that does make sense. It does have some, it is pretty fair. Warps in the Overseer now, so you can definitely have detection against this, DT defense in the main base. Means his drop can just be a little bit more effective now, continuing onwards. That's moving in. I mean, one Colossus already down. Force field's in the middle of all of this army. I mean, that's powerful, but both Colossus have fallen. And that is really one of the only things DnS had to kind of rely on here, I suppose. Another Colossus shows up. Namshar backs away for the moment. His drop turned away by the Stalkers and an Archon. I mean, I guess a lot of his army is in that drop, right? So it's not like he's fighting with everything against this attack here. As now he morphs in 12 lurkers. Namshar is getting set to go once again, and surely there's no way to fight lurkers. I know I've said a million times now this game that Namshar has got this in the bag, and he does. He really does. He's just finding the way to end it. Surely there's no answer to lurkers, right? There's no immortals really out. There's 1 or 2, not 10 to 8, 10 to 12 that you usually need. There's not many charge lots. So many of these units are sentries, which are not going to be useful against lurkers at all. There's just no way you fight this, and that's shown by the fact that DnS just backs away from this position immediately. Doesn't even try to fight it. Doesn't even try the drop reload, so unloads in a different location, gets himself the Cyber Core. I don't think the Cyber Core is a big deal because, I mean, it's just going to be DTs continuing to warp in anyways. As we see the Hydras, well, they're actually starting to get cleaned up here, but now the larger fight breaks out, and again, it's just Namshar chasing down a fight from DnS. He's looking for the engagement. He wants it. He will get it eventually. These lurkers are just brute forcing their way forwards a little bit at a time, and this army keeps on getting pushed further out of position. GG, then it is tied up 1-1. What the hell? What the hell? Well, guys, we are about to jump on into this game number 3. That's what we were waiting for. Let's see what happens as we kick this off to the top left-hand side. Tying the series up 1-1 with just a good defense earlier in the game of game number 2. And then closing it out slowly but surely. It is our blue Zerg player, Namshar. And at the bottom right, our red bronze player from Cascade is DnS. A little bit of a weirdness in the early game. Namshar just throws his hatch first over here just because that probe came in to block it. It's just going to take it in location. And that's going to be important to know. And, I mean, it doesn't really make much difference, right? If you go to 3 bases quickly, it doesn't matter too much where your natural and where your third is. Against a couple of builds, it can be maybe a bit more frustrating. Something like a cannon rush can make it very annoying, or maybe not even a cannon rush, but like, I don't know, like just super aggressive builds, which kind of draw you towards that direction very early. It's interesting. So, we're going to see what's happening. RNG's in the chat saying, damn good casting with damn good games. Loving it. Loving your comment, mate. Thank you so much for the kind words. Glad you're enjoying. Always gets me hyped up when people in the chat are getting hyped up as well. Good to see. Good to see. Is that sneak stuff like pre-workout for gamers? It's a little bit like pre-workout. It's like an energy drink. I was talking to my friend about it, and I'm not fully knowledgeable about this stuff, and he says it's pretty similar to pre-workout for gamers. Yeah, it's 0 sugar, it's low calories per serving, it's cheap per serving, and it tastes good. And the big thing is that it doesn't give you a drop-off after you felt the high. So once you're energized up, obviously eventually you come back down normal, but you don't feel that drop as much. Is one of the big kind of things about it. So I've been enjoying it. And I think I prefer it to other energy drinks that I usually drink. And that's just me genuinely being truthful with you guys. So, anyways, I don't want to talk about that too much because I just want to answer a question and move on. And so you're going to see a couple of adepts moving up in towards the main. You're going to be seeing a couple of zerglings that are going to be taking some damage. And yeah, actually picks off a few of those zerglings. Link speed's just kicked in, and those drones, so much lost mining time for 2 adepts, which are going to go down. But man, obviously it's great if you can kill drones, but forcing so many drones off the mineral line for so long is just insane. You kill 6 lings for 2 adepts, but you also get yourself like a whole bunch of mining time gained. That's so nice for you. Great little start here from DnS in game number 3. I love when Tessa says 2 seconds before GG, this might just be the beginning of the end. Every caster has their own little things, and their own little things they say to fill time sometimes, and to, just to fill the moment, and to like keep the continuity going, right? It's fun. I definitely have my own things. I know I say a lot of things a lot, sometimes even too much. And it's fun to kind of listen in and to realize some of them as well. It's cool. It's cool to see that everyone, like people's minds work in similar ways. Just want to see these Zerglings moving around. Of course, doesn't want to let DNS towards the third base too quickly or anything silly like that. Twilight Council will come up here from DNS post Oracles. I wonder if this is going to be that Glaives follow-up here that we have seen before. I mean, 2 more gates in the War Prism. He warps in a couple of Zealots, though, which doesn't really suggest Glaives at all, right? It suggests more charge. Or maybe even a Templar Archives in charge. Yeah, there, Templar Archives will come down. It is kind of something that makes a little bit of sense, right? Because now you get the charge Archons up, you get the Zealots going, and you just start to harass like you saw in the last game with a couple of Archons. Well, we actually didn't even see much Archon harassment in the last game, but usually you see Archon harassment, but last game you actually stuck with the DTs for quite a lot longer without morphing the Archons in. 2 Oracles coming down the right-hand side, and we are going to be seeing a Nexus on the way up here. Nice little position on the pylon. People, again, very good at these sim cities. Of course, they have been for a long time, as they are just going to kind of keep the Zealots and the Adepts safe from a full surround or anything, if there was Maulings. Obviously, at this point, it's, you know, even at this point, it's not really necessary to put these units in a kind of a little bit of a gap because there's not enough Zerglings to take advantage of it. Going to see this Phoenix is fighting against that Overlord. Maulings to the top side. Lair is about to pop here from Namshar. And we are just going to be seeing a few Roaches on the way out as well. Charges on the way up from DNS. Took a little while to get going, but it is going to come out in the end. 2 Oracles still just sat over to the left-hand side, and they are going to poke their way in towards the main base. Phoenix is working its way through this Overlord on the south. The Archon drop coming in as well, so I mean, units everywhere at the moment from DNS, but so far Namshar holds tight, doesn't let DNS find those openings, doesn't let him abuse the kind of ability of the multitasking. I guess the multitasking isn't too crazy right now. The Oracles come in after the Prism, and you do want to make sure you keep your Oracles and the Prism alive, right? The Archons especially, so nice to keep track of that. And just be a little bit cautious and not get too ahead of yourself. Plus 1 missiles on the way up, Roach speed coming through as well. Very standard sort of setup to go into a Roach Hydra base game, similar to what we saw in the last game out of Namshar, which then led him in towards the Lurkers. We're seeing that more and more rather than Lingbane Hydra a lot of the time. Now it's a bit more kind of Roach centric initially into Hydras as a follow up as we get set to go. How long was the Clem Guru series? Well, the first Clem Guru game was like 40 minutes, right? And then the second game was 25 minutes. So it was an hour and 5 minutes, and then we had an hour, and then we had an hour 45 game, but we also had a 5-minute break. So it was like an hour 10 plus hour 45 is almost 3 hours. It was insane. That series was so long. Plus time between games. It was ridiculous. So just answering some questions in chat as we watch these Archons have a little bit of back and forth. If you did miss that Clem Guru game number 3, guys, I don't even know if I should recommend it, but probably a fun one to flick through. One of the longest games in competitive StarCraft history, I believe. It's pretty fun. Storm is on the way up here from DNS. A couple more High Templar coming through. Robo Facility's going to pop up as well shortly. Nah, Robo's about halfway done. Logan Den on the way out. I mean, it's all the kind of tools you expect each side to be getting. Neither of them are really kind of aggressive players before they've got what they need. We saw DNS try to do that in the last game and it didn't work out, so it makes a lot more sense for him to jump into a bit more of a style that he's comfortable with, which is a much more passive style now for Game 3. A game which could be the life or death of him in the winner's bracket. I'm pretty sure no one wants right now, 6.5 hours into this tournament, wants to drop down to the loser's bracket to play even more games and wait even longer for more opponents. So really a lot of pressure for these guys. I mean, obviously they have to do whatever happens, but it would be really nice to just wrap the day up early, as we are going to be seeing Roaches and Hydras here from Namshar spreading themselves out on towards the third. Archons, Immortals and High Templar stand up in the center. Let's see, Roach already just being chased away. Is DNS, like, you know, pressuring a bit now, and he's starting to get out there now that his Dream Army's coming true. +2 about to finish, he's got the Storms. So now that he's got all the tools, apart from obviously moving up in towards carriers, he is starting to get aggressive. The Zealots are already drawing a big chunk of this Namshar army away to the top right-hand side. DnS uses that as an opportunity to dive in towards the upper side, and oh, I love it. He's even pulling these Zealots away so he can push them back in later. Namshar, 5 lurkers on the way up, but they're not ready yet. A few Zealots peel away towards the natural expansion. DnS just backs off in general. These Zealots going down though, and that Warp Prism in some trouble too, and Namshar does get the kill. Small couple of mistakes there by DnS, and that does cost him a Prism and some units. And that was so good at the start, but it went so bad so quickly. You know, suddenly he lost all the Zealots to the right-hand side. Suddenly, the few Zealots into the natural didn't do much. He even lost the Prism on the right-hand side. It's going to be seeing Archons and Immortals continue to work their way through the rocks. And as the rocks go down, we are going to be seeing Namshar maybe setting up a little bit of a multi-pronged attack, whether intentional or not. I'm not sure if he realized this army was still over here. He backed away from it pretty quickly, so it doesn't seem as though he's eager to engage just yet. I mean, for him, +2 missiles is about to finish, so fighting with that would be ideal. Maybe he finds himself, well, there you go, I was about to say, maybe he finds himself something with this army down here. He finds one, and now 2 Immortals. Nice shutdown from Namshar. Doesn't want to take the larger fight, though, because, again, his own army is split up. So, doesn't want to have the same fate come to his units as what just happened to DNS's. Oh, he's attacking those rocks, and there's a bit of a weird pathing moment there, so a couple of his units will go down. Still not as valuable as those 2 Immortals were. Oh, the Lurkers burrow here, and oh my god, the High Templar in the front! Somehow only one of them goes down after dropping both of its storms. That should not have happened. That should have been something else, I'm sure. Dark Shrine is on the way up in this mineral line in the third. Just puts in the mineral line to try and hide it a little bit. Zealots reveal themselves on this left-hand side by going on creep a little bit. Again, another weird pathing little kind of something there. And that's something that means that these Roaches and Hydras should deal with it pretty quick. Maybe loses a couple of Hydras in the process, but for the most part it goes down. Once he gets onto the Roaches, I mean the Roaches are way less valuable than the Hydras. Revelation does tag the Lurkers over here. The Lurkers are not part of this army at the moment, so that top left-hand army of Namshar is not looking hot. Namshar's got a lot of money in the bank, but he can't just go wasting it away, and right now these Lurkers are in some real trouble. That's a huge amount of army value right there in these Lurkers, and if they get completely trapped, if they are in trouble for real, this could be really bad for him. We're going to see those Zealots alone, and the Archons and the Immortal again. So much done! Oh my god, the Lurkers have just died to basically nothing? I mean, that was like a little group of Zealots and an Archon or 2 and 1 Immortal. For like 10, 12 Lurkers? Oh, that was insane. That was absolutely insane. You should not lose that much in that scenario in any situation. But we are going to see the rocks go down. Namshar set a trap. Oh my god, DnS walks right into it. His Immortals get cut in half, and he will have to work his way through those rocks ASAP to try and recover from this, or to at least retreat. It's already cost him a couple of Immortals. He's going to keep trying to push up the ramp, though. Wants to use that momentum he just gained by cleaning out the Lurker count already. But man, Namshar set that up well, but now Zealots going into the top right-hand side. A DT also has a little bit of extra damage into this, and if the Zealots are tanking, that DT will get a chance to be used here. That spine, though, is a bit of an awkward spot. Drones pull in to protect it. Units will now be micro to deal with that a little bit better. Only 4 Lurkers here at the moment. Some of the Lurkers to the top side are morphing, and DnS sees it. He's like, get out of here. I don't want to deal with 4 more Lurkers. And no, Namshar! Falling apart. Units running all over the place. Not actually taking part in fights. Namshar is just losing so much at the moment, as we're going to be seeing more Zealots off to the right-hand side. They are going to be picked away at a little bit, but he's losing his entire natural expansion. This continued attack is obviously somewhat predictable. Continue to run Zealots up here, but only because it works, and at the same time, maybe predictable, but it's already done its job, and you know, at this point, DnS takes down a natural. This attack in the main base will not do too much more, and that Greater Spire will survive. But it's bought him so much time and an advantage to safely set up into carriers. Isn't that just crazy? Isn't that just crazy? I mean, just a bunch of carriers on the way up, and he's just getting himself into his win condition, right? His win condition is, once I get carriers, it's so difficult for me to lose the game. And so he's just like, cool, I've done enough here to get myself safely to carriers. Boom, I'm going to get those up, and then I'm going to think about pushing in for a victory. Namshar, an accidental drone comes across the map. A couple of drones come across the map, and that is just one of the signs that things are falling apart a little bit for him. You know, when drones are accidentally moving over, they're definitely not meant to be here. He's not going to randomly build a hatchery. I guess they tanked a little bit of a Zealot charge. Anyway, he's going to turn back around. And we are just going to see the Hydras backing away over to the right side once again. Corruptors morphing themselves into Broodlords in the center of this map. More carriers are being produced. Corona boosted out at the moment. Archon's Zealots pushing forwards to deal with those Hydras. Getting pushed all the way up the right-hand side. 4 more Broods on the way through here. Revelation tags down, or tags a bunch of these Hydras as well. I mean, again, the Broods coming up is nice, but already a couple of them go down instantly. And the carriers are here, right? So there's anti-air to take down Broodlords as well. So it's not like the Broodlords are some unstoppable force that suddenly, you know, Namshar has just survived until finally he has a way to fight. It's not like that at all. It's kind of somewhat the, I don't want to say the opposite, but I mean, it's just like he's finally at Broodlords, but DnS is like 2 steps ahead of him. He's got an answer to Broodlords. While the Broodlords are still going to be a good addition to the army for Namshar, they're not going to be a game-changing addition for the moment. DnS is in control of this game. Namshar is starved for money. He has got 5 bases up, so in fairness, he has got the income to maybe survive with a good fight. I'm just not sure if he can take a good fight with Mass Hydra against so many Storms, Archons, splash damage in general. I'm not sure if you can take a fight here that works out for Namshar, because it's just such a weak army. Like, these Hydras are just so flimsy. There's no protection for them. There's no Banelings to bust on down. There's no Banes to force the Storms to not go on the Hydras, right? And that's where this army of Namshar just looks so weak at the moment. 2 Immortals have wandered their way up to the top right-hand side. They start to take the fight on that hatchery as, okay, Broodlords are dropping down over here. This is a dead 4th hatchery. And this is once again Namshar denied a base which he needs. He needs to be building up a bank. And DnS has decided to strike. He's going to come on in. I mean, the Broodlords are just going down to the carriers. I mean, I don't think we've even seen a Storm drop in this fight just yet, but maybe now a couple of them will come down. Covers the Hydras, gets them so low. And now, of course, these Hydras will just keep on dropping. There's a couple of units in the main base as well from the War Prism. It's just going to be too good from DnS. And he will move on through to the qualifying matchup. We finally made it here after 6.5 hours. Our second qualifier.